YouTube, I'm back. Woo! Yeah! Alright, today video, I promised you, Sex Talk 101, episode 45, I believe. I'm not sure if it's either 44 or 45. I believe this might be the 45 episode of my Sex Talk series. Now, this one is going to be explaining why 80% of men have a hard time, including me, have a hard time trying to physically, sexually attract women, and what is the number one problem that most of us do not seem to understand. And we fall victim to this all the time. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, we fall victim to this one little thing that we do wrong with women. I did promise you Thursday or Friday that when we get to Sunday, I was going to make this video. And I want you guys to watch this video. I don't care if you find this video boring. I don't care if you want to hear how you get laid. Pay attention to the educational part first, and then we can get to the fun. A lot of you guys just want to hear how you get laid because it ain't happened for so long, and then when you try to get laid, it backfires and it blows up in your face, and then you wonder why you're not getting nowhere. Listen to the educational boring part first, and then we can get to the fun shit, okay? Now, there comes a time in life when someone asks you, what do you want most out of life? A lot of us will say we want to get a house, we want to get a car, we want to play basketball, we want to play football, we want to be rich and famous, but there's one thing in common that all men have. Doesn't matter if you're black, if you're a black man, a white man, a Latino man, an Asian man. Doesn't matter if you're from Russia, Germany, Paris, France. Doesn't matter if you're from Mars, planet Vegeta. We all want to fall in love and have sex with hot, attractive women. Problem is, there's this one thing that we overlook every single time we see a black woman, a white woman, a Mexican woman, an Asian woman. Don't matter if she's foreign. Doesn't matter if she's mixed. We make this one little mistake. And it's called building aura. What is an aura? An aura is where people get this sense of energy that they think you're either 100% good or 100% pure evil. Now, I know you might say, come on, man, this ain't Dragon Ball Z. This ain't Mortal Kombat. And I'm not talking about Dragon Ball Z or Mortal Kombat. I'm talking about the concept of an aura. Like when you sense someone's presence nearby, you can tell that person has a good vibe or a bad vibe. And a lot of times when women see us, women are so fast and so receptive that they can tell right off the bat in mere seconds, not minutes, in seconds, who has a good vibe, who has a bad vibe, who has positive energy, who has negative energy. Now, I talked about this 2 years ago in a YouTube video about sexual harassment, but I never talked about why it's not good to give women anything when you first meet them. And a lot of us fail to understand this rule. It's happened to me five to seven times. I almost lost my job because I fell into a bad habit. And I got to learn how to break that bad habit. And you see, it doesn't matter if it happens at the workplace. It happens everywhere. The gym, the workplace, school, on the road, on the bar, at the movie theater. Wherever you can meet women, we make this one little mistake that costs us everything with the girl. And it kills about 90% of sexual attraction with the woman. Like 90% of it gets flushed down the toilet, killed dead in its tracks. Almost impossible. I'm going to say it again. Almost impossible to get it back. Translation, if you ever watch professional wrestling, when Chris Jericho always say, you will never, ever be the same again. Well, when you fuck up with physically, sexually attractive women, and it don't matter if the women are high class, middle class, low class, or a combination of all three. When you make this one mistake, you kill 90% of sexual attraction. And it's impossible to get it back. I don't care if you go to a pickup artist, a dating coach. The one thing that they are going to tell the truth on is that you kill 90% of the attraction and that it's almost impossible to get it back. You start doing stuff that the woman don't approve of. Like, when I was a kid, my mom used to always tell me, don't ever buy a woman nothing that you first met, because a woman will consider that as an insult. And all of junior high and high school, I did not understand that concept. So I failed every single time with women in junior high and high school. And my mom told me again, I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it until it actually happens to you and you finally understand why I said it. Don't give a girl anything that you meant. That means I don't care if you meet black women, white women, Mexican women, Asian women, foreign women. I don't care if the woman's black and Mexican and she's mixed. Don't give her shit. And a lot of times I'd be saying, how am I supposed to get the girl to like me? And my mom kind of smiled at me and said, well, you gonna figure that out for yourself. Now, fast forward to 12 or 13 years later on YouTube, we have a man by the name of Steve the Dean Williams on YouTube, who is O'Shea Duke Jackson's best friend. I call him Steve the motherfucking Dean Williams in this bitch. And Steve the Dean Williams said in his YouTube videos that he wished a lot of men would, I don't want to say piss women off, but learn how to just tell a woman what they want. And if the woman say, I'm not interested, and just be a man and just piss the woman off and don't deal with the woman no more. Because a lot of men are afraid of women may not like them if they open their mouth and speak up on their behalf. Now, anytime you try to buy a woman something for her birthday, Valentine's Day, or for Christmas, a woman in her subconscious mind thinks you're trying to get sex from her. This is why nice guys get rejected 90% of the time. This is how 90% of the sexual attraction gets killed and destroyed dead in its tracks. And it becomes impossible to get back. And when I mean impossible to get back, I'm talking about it could be 3 years later. It could be 5. Hell, it could be 10 years later for you to get that 90% of sexual attraction back with that one girl. And you see, here's the sad reality. If you fucked up with one girl, well, what's going to happen when you meet girl number 2, girl number 3, girl number 4, girl number 5, girl number 6? What happens when you meet 10 women and all 10 times you make the same mistake? There are stories and cases where a girl took some flowers and threw it in the trash because one guy gave a girl flowers on Valentine's Day. And the girl was like, well, I'm flattered. You didn't have to buy me no flowers. Listen to the words that come out of her mouth. You didn't have to buy me no flowers. Translation, the girl finds it as an insult because, did I ask you to buy flowers? Did I tell you to buy flowers? Did I even entertain the idea of flowers? Now, you might have done it as a good gesture, but to her, it's blatant disrespect. Now, to me and you might say, how is that blatant disrespect when I was just doing a good gesture? Now, if you're buying something for a woman's birthday, yeah, that's an insult. Most definitely, most guys don't ever buy girls nothing for their birthday. You know, if it's Valentine's Day, again, you probably may not want to buy nothing for the girl on Valentine's Day because you know that's a real red flag. But let's say you decide you work like I do and you get a coworker and you decide to make a t-shirt, but you don't get communicated to you that you done something stupid. And then it ain't until a year later that you get brought in the office 3 to 4 times that you get told that your behavior is the main problem. Translation, you just killed 90% of the sexual attraction. So now the girl doesn't like you, not even as a friend. There's the friend zone, and then there's the no zone, where the girl goes, I don't even want to be friends. I don't even want to talk to you. And that's real, and that does exist. Now, again, you might say, well, if the woman is taking the Christmas cards, if the girl is taking the t-shirt, the girl is taking these items that I'm giving her, but it makes her feel uncomfortable, why is she keeping them? Because women have this thing where they're afraid they might hurt our feelings, because as men we have fragile egos, and she's afraid that if she say, I really don't want this shirt, she know how embarrassing and humiliating it is for you to do it. So she keeps the shirt. What she does is she doesn't ever wear it. Like, it might stay in the closet, it might stay in the fucking it might stay in the closet for like 5 years, 10 years. It'd be 5 years, maybe 10 years before she even thinks about wearing a t-shirt that you made for her. Now, to me and you, that's disrespectful as a man, that if you make something for a female and she don't wear it. Now, you might say, but what if when Chad fucking does it, it ain't a problem? Because she finds Chad physically, sexually attractive. And here's the thing that Chad did. Chad didn't do it when he first met her. Chad waited until she asked, what are you going to give me for my birthday? Now Chad was in a situation where Chad could now buy something, and he didn't have to worry about her saying, you make me feel uncomfortable. So when you try to buy a woman something for her birthday, Valentine's Day, or Christmas, 99.99% of the time, a woman will say, you make me feel uncomfortable. And then the problem that you have with that is you can't really do anything, because now, you know, there's making a woman feel uncomfortable, and then there's sexual harassment. And from what I've watched and observed, the first stage of sexual harassment is when a woman say, you make me feel uncomfortable. Your behavior, the way you talk, the way you say stuff, the way you go about doing stuff, good and bad, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Now you're in a situation where you can't really give a woman absolutely nothing. Because every time you try to do a nice gesture or a nice thing, the woman has a tendency to take everything as an insult. And not every single thing you do is an insult, but it's the way she perceives it. Now, there is an answer to this problem. Now, this concept has been around for years. People in Japan have used this, and it has done incredible wonders. They've used it in Japan. They've used it in China. They've used it in Asia. They've used it in Korea. Hell, they use it in India. And it's a form of self-improvement. And it has lots of names. You've seen it in movies. You've seen it in television shows. It's called the power of nothing. Now, when I say that, some people might say, what the hell? I know this black man ain't tripping here on YouTube. He just said, what? You're probably spitting out your Coca-Cola, your Sprite, your 7-Up, your Pepsi. You might spill out your water. You might spill out your coffee or your tea, and you might go, what the hell? You might smell out your cigarette or your weed. You might go, what the hell he just say? The power of nothing. What the power of nothing means, you don't do absolutely anything that the girl doesn't want. So let's say, for an example, that a girl at the gym thinks it's insulting for you to give her a get well card because she broke her arm or her leg in a car accident. Well, even though you want to show that you care, don't show that you care. Because even though you're trying to show that you care, she might go, wait a minute, you ain't never been concerned about me. You ain't never thought nothing about me in a good way, so what is this for? That's the reaction you get. Now, when women do that, they're well in their rights to do so. But there is a rule about that, ladies. You can do that from the age of 18 to 29. You can do that for about 10 to 13 years because you have what they call sexual V market. You're in your prime. You can run the table. You can make the rules. You can demand stuff in negotiations. But once you get 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, all the way up to 40 years old, you can no longer ever do that ever again. And I'll tell you ladies why. Because by the time you get up there in age, your sexual V market starts to do this. Slowly drops down significantly. And then all those times that you used to bitch and complain about men making you feel uncomfortable, you no longer get that attention. all that unwanted attention that you women complain about, you don't get that no more. Now you know what you get? You get the complete opposite of that. You get zero attention. And you get it for a specific reason. You ever heard on YouTube when some YouTubers say that if a girl ain't been in a relationship for 5 years or 10 years, that's a red flag? I'm about to explain to you why that is. Anytime a woman say, I ain't been in a relationship for 5 years, I ain't been in a relationship for 10 years, 15 years, take a good guess why you think that is. It's because once upon a time when she was in high school and college or at work, she had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys all make the same mistake that I talked about. And every single time somebody tried to buy her something for her birthday or Valentine's Day or for Christmas, it was, you make me feel uncomfortable. And all 10 men got in trouble at their job. Some of these guys got fired and got let go by H&R. And some of these guys were not seen or heard from for 10 years. And it wasn't until 15, 20 years later that the woman all of a sudden started complaining that no man is asking her out to lunch and dinner. No man's talking to her. No man is interested. And you see, the problem is when women start that, I feel uncomfortable. There's a right concept to being uncomfortable, and then there's a wrong concept to being uncomfortable. The power of nothing, you've seen it in movies and television. You look at the cartoon Street Fighter. Just look at the main character, Ryu from Street Fighter, when they call it the power of emptiness. You don't see him trying to desire power. You see him learning how to just be himself and just let whatever something good or bad happen, just let it happen naturally. Instead of trying to come up with some kind of answer to combat it, he lets whatever good happens good. He lets whatever something bad happens, he let it bad happens. And if you look in those 3 animated movies of Street Fighter, there is a story progression with the character Ryu. Okay, in the first one, he's just trying to get stronger. The second one, he is trying to understand the balance between good versus evil. The third story, he is trying to understand why he's a part of a family curse. There's 3 stories of his life in these animated films. And when he does use this new power, it's called the power of emptiness. You must clear your mind of every desire in order to attain this power. And it takes 3 animated movies for him to attain that power. So it takes him a while to understand what the old man is referring to. You see it in Dragon Ball Z. What did Goku tell Gohan in the holobatical time chamber? Turning into a Super Saiyan is not a desire. The power comes in the need of a response. You can't desire turning into a Super Saiyan. There's got to be a life or death situation for you to transform into a Super Saiyan. If you see Dragon Ball Super, when Goku goes Ultra Instinct, that is a representation of the power of nothing. Goku has to be free of all his thoughts and stop worrying about if something good's gonna happen or something bad's gonna happen. Same thing if you watch Enter the Dragon. You know, Bruce Lee was one of the greatest martial artist fighters of all times. And what did Bruce Lee said in that movie? Bruce Lee said in that movie, my style is the art of fighting without fighting. And when he first said it, a lot of people got confused. And a lot of people did not understand what Bruce Lee meant when he said the art of fighting without fighting. How about this one? How about the art of falling in love without falling in love? How about the art of having sex without having sex? You might say, get the fuck out of here. That don't even make no sense to me. It don't make sense to you right now, but in 5 years or 10 or 15 years from now, it will make a lot of sense. What I'm trying to say is, have you noticed something? Have you ever noticed the guy who always says, I like a girl? No sooner he says, I like you, the girl gets scared and rejects the guy just like that. And the guy who never tells a girl that he finds her physically, sexually attractive, you see him take her out to lunch and dinner. And you might scratch your head and say, that's some bullshit. I tell a girl that I like a girl, I get fake phone numbers, fake email addresses, but the guy who never tells the girl that he actually likes her, he actually gets the girl 90% of the time. And 85 to 90% of the time, that one guy gets laid 10 times over. And you know what he did? Absolutely nothing. He didn't try to ask her out to lunch. He didn't try to ask her out to dinner. He never talked about sex. He never insinuated sex. He never even tried to use his body language to imply sex. Now you might say, how in the hell can I do that when I got some women that go, he must be gay. He must be a punk. I don't think he likes women. Okay, that's a shit test. Anytime a woman try to say, oh, I think he gay, or I think he a punk, or I don't think he never had no sex with a woman, that's a shit test. That's a reaction test. That's to try to get some kind of reaction out of you. And the guys who don't pay attention to that are the guys who get laid. And the guys who keep reacting to everything a girl does, good or bad, it kills 90% of the sexual attraction. It happened to me about 5 to 7 times. A total of 7 times it's happened to me. Where I've had an old man walk up to me and laugh at me in my face and say, you were this close to getting laid and you just killed all of the attraction. You just killed 90% of the sexual attraction. So when a girl has a birthday, you can't say, here goes your birthday card. I mean, you can say happy birthday. Then again, you probably won't even say that. If it's Christmas, okay, I guess you just can't give her no Christmas card because, you know, you got to remember the last time you gave a girl a Christmas card and you wrote something in there that she didn't like, so now you can't give her no Christmas card. Now, you see, when you achieve this ability, you have to not want nothing. You can't want nothing. A lot of times when people can't get a house, it's because you desire a house and then you wonder why you can't get the house. Or you want a car, but you work so hard and you can't get the car. There's a lot of times where you want something, but you're not getting it. And then you say, I put in all this hard work and dedication. Why is it not returning? And you see, you have to learn how to take a look in the mirror. And when you look in the mirror, what is the mirror going to tell you? The mirror going to tell you you're the problem. And the mirror going to tell you the problem needs to be corrected. And fast. It ain't until a woman gets 30, 35, 40 years old that when you do buy her something for Christmas, she don't make a big deal out of it. But when she's from the age of 18 to 29 years old, she makes a big deal out of it. And you might say, that don't make no sense to me. It don't make sense to me either until I started researching it. So the power of nothing means you got to learn how to be happy by yourself. You got to learn how to have fun by yourself. You got to learn how to not want nothing. Now, I know in the back of your mind, it makes no sense and it's stupid. Now, some women are going to challenge you when you say, I don't want absolutely nothing. And a woman's going to say, oh, really? So if the opportunity of sex came up, would you still want sex? Now, of course, all of us are going to want to say yes, but the minute you say yes, she got you. Because she's trying to get you to hold up your end of the bargain by saying, I don't want nothing. So that means if she show her ass or her breast to you, you got to find some kind of way not to come off as a creeper or a weirdo, even though she's showing it. What she's trying to see is if you're real or if you're fake. And if she feels that you got a good vibe, you ever ask yourself how come the guy who looked like he ain't doing anything gets a hug from nowhere, but you don't get a hug? Let's say you're at a workplace. And let's say you've been at this workplace for 5 years. And let's say Chris always gets a hug from the girl you like. But he never gets brought into the H&R's office. You get brought into the H&R office because you always keep trying to hug the girl. But the girl don't ever hug you. But Chris gets a hug, but Chris don't get brought into the H&R's office. A lot of times you say, oh, it's because he's Chad. Oh, it's because he's good looking. Well, that might be why he don't get brought in the office. But a lot of times it's because he figured out that if I don't want nothing and I don't try to do nothing, Not only I don't get in trouble, the girl feels more comfortable around the guy who doesn't ask for anything. So to her, that's real. And when you try to do something to get something back in return, to the girl, it's, oh, you make me feel uncomfortable. Now, I know some men are going to say that's a bunch of bullshit, and it probably is a bunch of bullshit. But look at it this way. By the time the girl gets 30, 35, 40 years old, and she tries to come after you on Facebook or on classmates.com and try to talk to you and say, well, I guess it's okay now. You can give me a Valentine. Guess you hit her with that one rule. No, thank you. I'm good. I don't want to give you nothing. The girl gonna be trying to give you what you always wanted. Sex, right? And as soon as you reject her, she gonna be like, but I'm trying to give you what you all, and you go up, no, okay, I'm good. You can do that to a woman. And you see, when you do it to a woman, it's a nice way of reminding the woman, remember when you told him no in the very beginning? You get to tell no back to a woman, to her face. And it ain't about revenge. It's about the principle of respect. Because if she never ever thought she would ever like you, well, and I've said this in my video, that when women hit the wall, they act completely different from when they're young. And this video is just to explain to you why that one little thing stops you from doing it. So if you don't ever give a girl nothing, don't feel guilty. Now, when you do get a hug from a girl, don't be all happy and excited, because even when you get one hug from a girl and you start to get smiley happy, again, that can kill 90% of the sexual attraction, and it becomes impossible to get back, and it can take years to build that back up. Until the next time, peace.